Welcome to Moscow and to RT International. My name's Ewan O'Neill. Good to have your company. Let's begin in France this hour, where police have faced off with prison guards who set tyres on fire and used smoke grenades to demand better working conditions outside a prison near Paris. The rioting guards provide security for the Fleury-Mérogis prison, said to be the largest in Europe. It's got a reputation as a hotbed of Islamist radicalization. The prison holds almost 4,000 inmates, including the terrorists involved in the November 2015 Paris attacks. RT Charlotte Dubinsky has been following the unrest.
Incredible scenes outside Europe's largest prison in the south of Paris on Monday night, with the prison guards who are normally inside guarding the prisoners actually outside protesting against their pay and working conditions.
We're not afraid of the police. They're doing their job, but we want people to know what is going on in French prisons. We have to be heard. We need resources, we need a workforce, and so on. We are constantly suffering every day.
Today is very, very difficult. I've seen the level of violence increase enormously. Before there was a kind of respect. I'm not saying there is no respect now, but much less. Today we were attacked over absolutely nothing, for toilet paper not being delivered on time.
They lit fires and were shouting at the riot police who were there to try and keep the situation under control. Now, they're unhappy about pay and working conditions at the prison. Now, the reason that they're out protesting now is because last week there was a fight inside the prison, and as a result of that, 6 prison guards were injured. Now, unions say that this is the tip of the iceberg, and they want something to be done to stop this from happening in the future and to ensure that the prison guards who work inside that prison have safety and recognise working conditions that they need. They're now asking for all prisoners to be searched inside the property to check if they have any weapons, and any unauthorised personnel to also be checked when they go into the prison. And they said those demands have to be met.
Yeah, quite incredible scenes. We heard from Foreign Affairs journalist Eric Margolis, who says the public are taking every opportunity they can to protest.
The prison is vastly overcrowded. It has at least twice as many people as it was designed to hold. And the point is interesting, saying that there are more and more young prisoners in the prison who tend to be very violent. It's traditional in France that people go out and riot and demonstrate and threaten to burn the whole country down. And then a few days later, some deal is made quietly and the politicians give them certain things that they want. In France, everything is politics. And this is another way of putting pressure on the government. Things are very tense politically. There's confusion because nobody knows who's ahead in the elections or who's going to win. So it's a very interesting time in France when political pressure can have a very strong effect.
Well, even with that history of protests spilling over into violence, as Eric Margolis was saying, recent rallies and marches have been particularly striking for their aggression. Well, the latest protests are in sync with a seeming shift away from centrist politicians in the run-up to this month's French presidential election. Polls are now showing a surge in support for anti-establishment candidates. National Front leader Marine Le Pen has seen her popularity rise on the back of her reactionary policies to a number of problems facing the French public. She's joined at the top of the presidential polls by Emmanuel Macron of En Marche, but Now another candidate is making late gains. Left-winger Jean-Luc Melenchon, who has moved ahead of former Prime Minister François Fillon for the first time. Let's take a look at what we know about leftist candidate Melenchon in 60 seconds.
It's the end of the old world, in a way. It's the last of these old treaties, with a dose of shaggy liberalism, with a totally deregulated free trade. We will either change Europe or we will leave it. How can we still be considering eliminating jobs, reducing the state's budget, and yet still thinking about equipping and reorganizing the army? Those people are determined to be the reservists of the United States.
Well, we spoke on this topic with Eric Margolis again. He says that people are fed up with the current state of affairs and that Melenchon is seen as a candidate who can meet the people's demands.
He's soaring in the polls because he seems more inauthentic to French voters. And he proposes old-fashioned socialist ideas like reduced work weeks and bigger pensions and taxing 100% rich people. So, but people, French like this. And he seems like he's really speaking the truth, where the other candidates appear much too polished, as if they're produced by machine politics. France has a very high voter turnout usually, but in this election, people are disgusted, they're fed up, and they're tired of the whole process. Of course, that sets the stage for a big political upset if one is going to happen.
Moving on now.